Okay, so today we're going to be talking about section 3.1, and that's about relations. And I think the big thing that we should talk about would be um, that a relation is showing kind of relationship from X to Y, from the input to the output. And so if you see a group or set of ordered pairs where you show the relationship from X to Y, that is called a relation. And then secondly, the input values are called the domain, and you list them. Okay. Hopefully, there's not too many. If there are too many, I'll show you a way that you can kind of describe them. And then the range is going to be the output or a list of all the Y values. Again, hopefully, there aren't too many. Otherwise, it kind of gets tedious. And so we'll talk about kind of shortcuts if there are too many. Now, to show the relationship from X to Y or the domain values to the range values, we can use a mapping diagram. And this is pictured here with an X and then a Y right here. Now notice you see 1 goes to B, the input of 1 goes to 2 or goes to B, 2 also goes to B, 3 would go to C, and 4 goes to D. No, normally they're numerical, but not always. And so that shows like for any input, what is the resultant output? And then another thing is an ordered pair. So to graph, you can graph. Graphing shows the relationship from XY of an ordered pair. And so one ordered pair represents two. If you input 2, then 3 is the result. So if you go right 2 and up 3, that shows the X and Y of that point. Okay, and so you can see in a physical single location an XY team, and that place on the graph shows if you input X of 2, the resultant output Y is 3. And then variables, if they have words to them, sometimes they have, there would be an independent variable. That's the X. That'd be the input. Sometimes that's a choice, sometimes it's time. That's along the X axis. And then the dependent variable is the resultant output. That's the Y value. And then if this is our set, and notice you can tell it's a set because you see the braces on each side of it. Okay. And so this is a set of ordered pairs. This is showing a relation. Relation is a group of ordered pairs. And then you can place those ordered pairs on a table where X is represented by the first column and Y is of the second. So you'd write 2, 0, and then 0 has output of 4, 3 is -5, and then -3 is -5 as well. You can graph each of those points. So remember this is X and this is Y. Go to the right 2 and up 0. 0 goes to 4. 3 goes to -5. 1, 2. And then -3 also goes to -5. And then mapping diagram, here's what you need to do, okay? The domain is the X values, and when you give the domain, you list it from smallest to biggest. So my X values here would be starting with -3, 0, and then 2, and then 3. And that's the same order you should place it on the mapping diagram from smallest to biggest, the X coordinates. So the smallest is -3, the next one would be 0, and then this would be 2, and this is not a 3, that's the ending of this, so it'd be 3. So those are the values. You never repeat in X if there's multiple ones. If it's like if there were 2 2s, you'd only put 1. And so here you've got 0, actually I lied. The smallest of these is -5. You don't repeat it. So -5, you've got 0, and you've got 4. And to show the mapping, you do arrows from the input value to their respective output value. So 2 goes to 0. Okay. And then you've got 0 goes to 4. So you'd go 0 goes to 4. And then you've got 3 goes to -5. My computer does some weird things because it's in a text box or something. So 3 goes to -5 up here, and then just scooches. Not sure why. I wonder if I can scooch them up. I think I can. And then the last one, -3 also goes to -5. And it loves to drop as soon as I put it in. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. So -3 goes also to -5. And then, so the resultant range values, again, list them from the y coordinates from smallest to biggest. So we had -5, and we have 0, and we have 4. So this would be the x's, and those would be the y's. All right. So that is a good thing to practice. And this says, hey, seeing these, can you list the ordered pairs? And so listing the ordered pairs, again, they're XY teams. This would be 2, 5. This would be 5, 0. Right 5, but up 0. Remember to do a point for X, you go left or right. Left is negative, right is positive. And then to do Y, you're going to go up or down. Up is positive, down is negative. And then we've got 7, 8, and 7, 10. Oh, one more, 10, 2. Okay. And then to list these guys, we start with -5, and the resultant answer is 8. -2 goes to 10. 0 goes to 5, and 4 goes to 8. So you've got input and output values paired up as ordered pairs. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at word problems. The intimate variable, again, is the x, so that'd be time. And that's something you choose, or the input. The result would be the text messages. And I think the big thing that we should talk about is if something is going like this, it is increasing. What is increasing? You look along the y values, the text messages would be increasing. If something is doing this, it's staying the same. And then if something is doing this, it is decreasing. Okay, so what's decreasing? It would be always the y value. Okay, so as time changes, what is happening to the text messages? And so for this first section from 7 to 8 a.m., the text messages increasing. Okay, so the first section, they're increasing. From 8 to 9, staying the same. It's not increasing, it's not decreasing, decreasing because it's horizontal. Okay, and so maybe you took a break in texting. So if you're counting your text messages, how many you've gone through this so far, is that from 7 a.m., you're increasing. You're sending a bunch from 7 to 8. You aren't increasing from 8 to 9, okay? Not increasing. Another way we could put that would be staying the same. And it seems like you could say something, you're not texting, you're not adding more text, okay? And then from, looks like from 9 to 11, text messages are increasing. So you're sending more. And then maybe you can't use your phone during this time period. So from 11 to say 4, you're not sending text, okay? So we can say not increasing, we say staying the same. And then there's never a time where it's decreasing. Okay. You just keep adding more text to the day. And so from 4 to 8, increasing. Okay. What is the domain and range? Well, the domain is basically it's going to keep going. So it'd be 7 a.m. to, I don't know, however long you go. So to like maybe even infinity. The range is from 0 to how high? Doesn't look like it has a limit, perhaps infinity. Okay. So at this point, it's kind of the start to end. What is the range values? What are those values that you're getting? And then this one here talks about what is happening during each section. Basically, A is the traffic congestion is low. Okay, it's not increasing. Traffic low. Okay, so it's low traffic and it's staying the same. It's constant. Okay. In part B is traffic is increasing. Part C, traffic is high, but it's constant. It's staying the same. And then D, traffic is decreasing. And then E, traffic increases. Okay, so if it's going downhill, it's decreasing. If it's horizontal, it's going to be constant or staying the same. And then increasing. Um, all right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.